Britain ended the slave trade in 1807, but how did it actually stop slavery on the seas, and what did it cost? For centuries, British ships carried millions of Africans across the Atlantic, fueling huge profits in sugar, cotton, and tobacco. But by the late 1700s, abolitionists were fighting back. Olaudah Equiano shared his story as a survivor of slavery. Petitions flooded Parliament, and ordinary Britons boycotted slave-grown sugar. William Wilberforce kept pushing until finally the Slave Trade Act of 1807 banned Britain from trafficking enslaved Africans. But passing a law wasn't enough. Slave traders kept sailing, and the profits were too tempting to ignore. That's when Britain turned to the Royal Navy. In 1808, the West Africa Squadron was formed to hunt down slave ships. The squadron faced fast, heavily armed slavers who would do anything to escape. Battles broke out across the Atlantic. British sailors had to storm ships in hand-to-hand combat, sometimes under heavy fire. Slavers even threw enslaved captives overboard to lighten their ships and outrun the navy. Over 60 years, the squadron captured more than 1,600,000 slave ships and freed over 150,000 Africans. But the cost was staggering. Thousands of British sailors died, not just in combat, but from malaria, yellow fever, and brutal conditions along the West African coast. Sailors nicknamed it the white man's graveyard. These sea patrols made Britain the first global power to actively police the oceans against slavery. It was one of history's earliest examples of humanitarian military action. Then, in 1833, Britain abolished slavery in its colonies. But here's the bitter truth. It was the slave owners, not the enslaved, who were compensated. The government paid out the modern equivalent of billions of pounds to former slaveholders. The debt was so massive, UK taxpayers only finished paying it off in 2015. Britain ended the trade, patrolled the seas, and lost thousands of men to stop it. But the greatest injustice? The enslaved won freedom, yet the enslavers walked away with the fortune.